My name is Gary Thornton. I retired from the U.S. Coast Guard as a rank of captain. I'm not directly affiliated with any organization right now. I've been a ski instructor at Beaver Creek for the last 22 years as a retirement job. I've also worked for the county and worked for the Vail Jazz Foundation and a lot of musical activities. So I'm enjoying retirement here in the beautiful Vail Valley. I was actually born in Baltimore, Maryland. My father was in the Army out there at that time, and so that's where I entered the world. Well, my father was in the Army. This is during World War II, and my mother was a housewife, and I was her first of two children. Well, it was kind of my initiative because there was not a family history beyond my dad having been briefly in the Army, and so I didn't have a natural inclination to go towards a military career. And as I was thumbing through college application catalogs in my junior and senior years of high school, I discovered this institution called the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, and that really intrigued me. It was strictly based on competitive academics and activities. So I said, this could be the right thing. No harm in trying. So that was kind of set me up for the process. There were like 5,000 to 6,000 applicants nationally, and I was one of 1,000 that was selected based on academics or based on my test scores, and I interviewed, and that whittled the numbers down to about 250 of us that entered the Coast Guard Academy as a freshman year. And so I did go 1,000 miles away from home, and that was a little bit disruptive for a while, but I was so consumed by the experience of the Coast Guard Academy that homesickness was not in the equation. Well, I was, like I said, in the U.S. Coast Guard, and it's one of the 5 military academies, and the smallest of the military organizations, and an organization that wasn't that well known where I grew up, but excepting I discovered it in my readings, and one thing led to another, and I went out to Connecticut and went through the initial indoctrination, and ended up being a 4-year experience. Well, managing time, and when there were so many obligations, both military and academically and so forth, it was time management. You had to be up at 6:10 and ready to have a full day of academics and military training all lumped together until 10 o'clock taps that night. I was in a very limited group of successful officers that became a full captain in 06, as we say, similar to a colonel in the Air Force or Army, and that was my senior rank before I retired. Well, for example, my first assignment out of the Coast Guard Academy was on a Coast Guard cutter out of the Washington, Seattle area, and within a matter of a month of being on that vessel as a brand new ensign, with a lot to learn, we received orders to go to Vietnam. I had about 15 enlisted people working for me, and they were a great team. So teamwork played into it heavily, and I'm a team player, and that was also contributed to my success. We then transited the Pacific Ocean and spent 10 months in the Vietnam waters, including some intense warfare that we encountered in the first 2 months we were there during the Tet Offensive in 1968. And it really set the stage for a high-intensity year in that combat zone. In the process, I discovered the incredible role the Coast Guard played in the preparation of the Army and the Navy for World War II in the invasion of Normandy. I had no idea that the Coast Guard was deeply involved in the training of all these elements and played a pivotal role in success. What I wish more people knew about veterans? Well, there's a wide range of experiences that veterans have, and some of them are veterans of 4 years, some of them are veterans of 30 years. I don't know that there's anything that people aren't aware of if they get to know their neighbor who happens to be a veteran, but I encourage people to ask questions, because veterans are, to a large extent, a humble cross-section of America who are not inclined to go around waving a flag or shouting out that I'm a veteran, but also enthusiastically welcome the opportunity to share their stories.